library.
Underachievement doesn't start with lack of effort, it starts with unexamined thoughts. People don't sabotage their future with bad intentions, they sabotage it with unquestioned beliefs, shortcuts in judgment, and conclusions accepted without proof. Your life today is not shaped by your goals, but by the quality of your thinking behind those goals. If the mind that makes your decisions is untrained, no amount of ambition can save you. The people who win are not the ones who want more, they are the ones who think better. Chapter 1. The Mind Before the Goal. You want abundance, you want freedom, you want a strong body, a stable income, meaningful relationships, confidence, peace. But here is a question most people never ask. How can you build those things if you don't know how to evaluate your thoughts about them? Every result in your life begins as an interpretation in your mind, not a fact, a filter. You don't react to reality, you react to your understanding of reality. And if your understanding is lazy, emotional, or borrowed from others, your decisions will lead you in the wrong direction, even if your intentions are good. Think about money. Many people say they want wealth, yet believe deep down that rich people are selfish, immoral, or lucky. How can you chase what you secretly resent? Their thinking contradicts their goal, and they don't even realize it. That's a thinking problem, not a talent problem. Or take relationships. You meet someone new, you see one small flaw, and your mind jumps to assumptions. They don't care, they'll leave, they're not serious. You react to a story you made in your head, not the real person in front of you. How can you build trust on fictional conclusions? Critical thinking is not about judging others, it's about questioning yourself. It's the skill of asking, is this true, before reacting? Do I know this, or am I assuming? Is this my belief, or something I absorbed without checking? Let me show you how this plays out in real life. A young man I coached once told me, "I'm not getting promoted because my boss doesn't like me." I asked him, "How do you know that?" He hesitated. He said, I feel it." His career was being shaped by a feeling he never challenged. So I asked him another question. Could there be another explanation? After a long pause, he said, "Maybe I never take initiative." That was the truth. And that truth changed everything, not because his boss changed, but because his thinking changed. Here's the first principle of critical thinking. Never treat feelings as facts. Feelings matter. They give information about your internal world, but they are not evidence. They are signals, not conclusions. When you learn to separate emotion from evaluation, you gain power over your choices. Most adults never learn that separation, and their whole life becomes one long emotional reaction dressed up as logic. Ask yourself right now, how many decisions in your life were made out of fear? How many opportunities did you avoid not because they were wrong, but because they were uncertain? How many judgments did you make about people based on impatience or insecurity, not truth? Critical thinking forces you to slow down your interpretation. It protects you from your impulses. It protects you from manipulation. It protects you from your own ego. It gives you the space to choose wisely instead of reacting blindly. Let's go deeper. Critical thinking requires 3 habits. The first is curiosity. Successful people are curious before they decide. They ask questions instead of jumping to conclusions. They gather perspectives. They analyze patterns. They don't assume they already know everything. Curiosity keeps your mind flexible. The second habit is patience. Critical thinkers don't rush to decisions just to escape discomfort. They sit with uncertainty. They wait to understand. They don't try to solve every emotion by acting immediately. They know that haste creates regret. The third habit is honesty. Not honesty with others, honesty with yourself. Can you admit when you don't know? Can you admit when you were wrong? Can you admit when your pride is louder than your logic? Critical thinking demands humility. Without humility, the mind becomes a prison, not a tool. Here is something almost no one tells you. Your intelligence does not matter if your ego refuses to learn. Some of the smartest people are stuck because they don't question themselves. They defend their beliefs more than they improve them. They want to be right more than they want to grow. So let me ask you a question that will shape the rest of this journey. Do you want to think to protect your identity or to upgrade it? Because critical thinking will change who you are. It will force you to let go of old beliefs, old narratives, old excuses. That's not pain, that's evolution. If you learn to examine your thoughts instead of obeying them, your life will transform. Decisions become sharper, stress becomes lighter, opportunities become more visible, conversations become easier, and success becomes less about luck and more about clarity. Your mind is the architect of everything you build. Before you chase the goals, you must train the architect. Otherwise, you'll spend your life building the wrong things beautifully. In the next chapter, we will break down the mental distortions that sabotage your decisions without you noticing. You will learn how to catch thought traps before they control your life. Subscribe to the Millionaire Library, and if you want to go deeper, I left a full playlist waiting for you in the description. For the perfect next step, listen to Train Your Brain to Outsmart Any Situation. Chapter 2. Thought Traps That Quietly Ruin Your Decisions. Smart people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they trust their thoughts too quickly. The mind creates shortcuts to save energy, but those shortcuts often distort reality. And when reality is distorted, your conclusions are wrong even if you feel convinced. Let's expose the hidden traps shaping your choices without your permission. One of the most common traps is selective evidence. Your mind collects information that confirms what you already believe and ignores what challenges you. If you think you're unlucky, you'll notice every rejection but forget every opportunity you refused. If you think people can't be trusted, you'll remember every disappointment but ignore every loyal person who tried to stay. You don't see life as it is. You see what supports your story. Imagine two students who both fail a test. One tells himself, "I'm not smart enough." The other asks, "How can I improve?" Same event, different conclusion, different future. The first student will avoid challenges. The second will face them. Why? Not because one is smarter, but because one believed his failure was proof of identity, while the other saw it as feedback. That's a thinking difference, not a talent difference. Another trap is emotional prediction. You assume you already know how something will feel before you experience it. You think a new project will be too stressful, so you reject it before exploring it. You think asking a question will make you look stupid, so you stay silent and miss opportunities. You think networking is embarrassing, so you isolate yourself and call it independence. You don't avoid events. You avoid your imagined discomfort. There's also the trap of personalizing. You interpret neutral events as personal attacks. Your friend didn't reply fast? They don't care. Your boss didn't compliment you? They don't value me. Someone looks serious? They must be upset with me. Meanwhile, none of these thoughts have evidence. You're not reacting to others. You're reacting to your insecurity. Let me tell you about a woman who convinced herself her colleagues disliked her. She avoided group discussions, she worked harder in silence, she feared speaking up. One day, her manager finally asked why she never contributed. She confessed her fear. The manager looked confused and said, "Everyone thinks you don't like them." Both sides suffered because of stories they created in their heads. That's the cost of untreated assumptions. You'd be surprised how many relationships, careers, and friendships collapse not from real conflict, but from unchallenged interpretations. One misunderstood comment, one unanswered message, one bad week. The mind builds entire narratives out of fragments, and those narratives become decisions. Here's a question that can save your life from chaos. What else could this mean? Simple but powerful. If a friend cancels plans, maybe they're overwhelmed, not rejecting you. If someone disagrees, maybe they're thinking differently, not attacking you. If someone succeeds before you, maybe they started earlier, not because life favors them. Thought traps lose power when you give yourself more possible meanings. Let's uncover another dangerous distortion: perfection-based thinking. You believe you must know everything before starting. You think a plan must be flawless before acting. You delay action waiting for certainty. But certainty doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Anyone who waits to be ready never begins. Success is built by people who started when they were unsure, learned through mistakes, and adapted. Critical thinkers don't chase perfection. They chase clarity through experience. Then comes comparison thinking. You measure your worth by others' results. You scroll through social media, see people succeeding, and assume you're failing. You see someone at chapter 20 of their journey and judge yourself for being at chapter 2. But comparison is not thinking. It's emotional reaction disguised as logic. Thinking asks, what can I learn from them? Emotion asks, why are they better? One mindset fuels growth. The other fuels envy. Ask yourself right now, how many goals have you abandoned because someone else reached them faster? How many skills did you stop learning because you felt behind? How many dreams did you shrink because you weren't the best immediately? You don't need to be ahead of anyone. You only need to be ahead of who you were yesterday. Let's expose one last trap: fortune telling. You predict the future negatively without evidence. You say, it won't work. They'll reject me. I'll fail anyway. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't know. You assume failure so you don't have to risk discomfort. You call it realism. It's fear wearing a logical costume. Real thinking tests possibilities. It doesn't kill them prematurely. Critical thinkers don't ask, what if it goes wrong? They also ask, what if it goes right? Both outcomes exist. Why feed only the one that scares you? Why build your future using fear as your architect? Before decisions, ask yourself 3 questions. What facts do I have? What assumptions am I making? What else could be true? These questions force your mind to slow down and think instead of react. Slow thinking is not weakness. It's protection. It's clarity. It's maturity. Your mind loves shortcuts, but shortcuts don't build strong futures. Real progress requires mental awareness. Otherwise, you will spend your life dodging opportunities you misinterpreted, defending beliefs that limit you, and reacting to problems that didn't exist. In the next chapter, we will learn how to dismantle these traps in real time, how to train your brain to think before emotion takes over, and how to upgrade your decisions with a method used by high-level strategists and leaders.
Chapter 3: How to Think Before You Feel. The biggest enemy of critical thinking isn't ignorance, it's impulsive emotion. You might believe you are thinking deeply, but most decisions are emotional reactions wearing a logical mask. Your brain feels first and then builds a story to justify what it already wants to believe. The challenge isn't to remove emotion. The challenge is to think before emotion becomes your master. Let's begin with the simple truth. Emotion is fast. Thinking is slow. Your feelings react in milliseconds. Your logic takes time. That delay is where most people lose control. They speak too soon. They quit too early. They argue without listening. They choose comfort over truth. And later, when the emotion fades, they face consequences that thinking could have prevented. Imagine you are in a heated conversation. Someone says something that feels disrespectful. Your body reacts instantly. Your heart speeds up. Your muscles tense up. Your mind prepares to defend. In that moment, you're no longer searching for truth. You're searching for victory. You forget the goal of the conversation. You only want to win. Have you been there? We all have. That's emotion hijacking intelligence. Now imagine the same moment, but you insert a pause, just 2 seconds. Instead of reacting, you observe. You ask yourself quietly, what is the real issue here? That small pause rewires everything. You stop playing defense. You start processing. You regain control. You become a thinker, not a reactor. That is the moment where growth begins. Pausing is a form of intelligence. Great leaders aren't calm because they don't feel. They're calm because they think before they act. It's a skill, and you can develop it. Let's break down a simple method to think before you feel. It starts with 3 words: notice, name, navigate. First, notice. You observe the feeling before acting on it. You acknowledge what's happening inside without judgment. Anger rising, anxiety building, ego triggered. Whatever it is, notice it. Your awareness interrupts the emotional autopilot. Second, name it. Don't hide it. Don't pretend it's logic. Call it what it is. I feel defensive. I feel afraid of failing. My ego wants to fight back. When you name the emotion, you weaken its control. You separate yourself from it. You are no longer the emotion. You are the observer. Third, navigate. Now you decide what to do with the feeling. Should you respond? Should you ask a question? Should you wait? Should you walk away? Emotion doesn't vanish. You simply choose what to do with it instead of letting it choose for you. That's real power. Let me share a short story. A young professional once received harsh feedback from his manager. His first instinct was anger. He wanted to defend himself, explain, justify. But instead, he paused. He listened. He asked questions. He noticed his need to protect his image. He named his insecurity. He navigated by staying curious. Later, the manager said, "You're one of the few people who actually listens to learn, not to defend." That one choice unlocked opportunities that emotional reaction would have destroyed. Thinking before feeling changes your future quietly, one decision at a time. Here's another common situation. You plan a goal, but fear whispers you aren't ready. Emotion wants protection, not progress. If you obey blindly, you never begin. Thinking before feeling means asking, what will I lose if I wait? Not, what if I fail? Emotional avoidance kills more ambitions than lack of skill ever will. Now let's explore relationships. Many conflicts don't come from what was said, but from what was assumed. Emotion interprets tone, pauses, facial expressions. It doesn't analyze context. If someone speaks bluntly, your ego may say they are rude. But thinking asks, are they stressed? Do they communicate differently? Did they mean harm, or am I reacting to my insecurity? Thinking before feeling transforms judgment into curiosity. Ask yourself right now, how many friendships, jobs, or opportunities did you hurt because you reacted too fast? How different would your life look if you had paused? If you had asked one question instead of defending? If you had listened instead of assuming? If you had investigated instead of attacking? A single pause can change a destiny. Thinking before feeling is also essential with money. Emotion makes you spend to feel better now. Thinking makes you invest to feel better later. Emotion wants reward today. Thinking seeks reward tomorrow. People who master money master delayed emotion. This isn't intelligence, it's discipline of the mind. Here's a small exercise to build that discipline in everyday moments. When you feel triggered, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I reacting to? What story is my mind creating? What information do I not have yet? These questions slow your emotions and activate your reasoning. They pull you out of ego and into awareness. Another technique is mental distance. When overwhelmed, pretend the situation is happening to a friend, not to you. What would you advise them? You'll notice something immediately. The best decisions come when ego isn't involved. You already know how to think clearly. You just forget when your identity feels threatened. That's why the strongest minds aren't emotionless. They are emotionally disciplined. They don't let feelings sabotage what thinking could improve. They take a breath where others panic. They listen where others attack. They observe where others assume. They ask questions where others argue. Thinking before feeling is a superpower most people never train. But if you build it, you'll make decisions others admire, handle conflict without chaos, choose goals based on strategy instead of insecurity, and create outcomes emotion alone could never produce. In the next chapter, you'll learn something even deeper: how to question your thoughts until the truth reveals itself. Not everything your mind believes is real, and if you don't challenge your beliefs, they will shape your life without your permission. You're about to learn how to think beyond your own limits.
Chapter 4. Questioning Your Thoughts Like a Scientist. Most people live inside their thoughts as if they were facts. They don't question them. They don't test them. They don't verify them. They simply obey. They hear an inner voice say, "You're not ready," and they step back. They hear, "They don't like you," and they distance themselves. They hear, "This won't work," and they quit before starting. They don't realize their life is being controlled not by truth, but by unexamined beliefs. Critical thinking begins the moment you doubt your own certainty, not with insecurity, but with investigation. You stop treating thoughts like commands. You treat them like hypotheses. You test, analyze, and explore them, just like a scientist. This shift changes everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow and refusing to believe every thought that enters your mind. Instead of reacting to them, you study them. You ask, is this real? Or is this just my brain protecting me, repeating old fears, or imitating someone else's voice? This is how thinkers are born. Let's break down how to question your thoughts scientifically. First, separate feelings from facts. Feelings are internal experiences. Facts are external realities. You might feel unprepared, but that doesn't mean you are. You might feel judged, but that doesn't mean anyone is thinking about you.
You might feel overwhelmed, but that doesn't mean the situation is impossible. A young entrepreneur once wanted to start a fitness business. Before even creating a plan, his mind whispered, "You don't know enough. You're not certified. People will laugh." None of that was proven. When we looked for facts, here's what we found. He had trained consistently for 5 years, coached friends who begged him to monetize his advice, and already had 10 people willing to pay. The feeling said failure. The facts said opportunity. His life changed when he stopped believing emotion and started investigating truth. Second, challenge your conclusions. The brain doesn't show you reality, it shows you interpretations filtered through fear, past trauma, insecurity, ego, habits, family influence, culture, and memories. So ask yourself, what else could this mean? If your business idea gets rejected, it doesn't mean it's worthless. It could mean you need a better pitch. If someone criticizes you, it doesn't mean they hate you. It could mean they're stressed, competitive, insecure, or even trying to help in an unpolished way. Smart thinkers collect multiple explanations before deciding. Average minds jump to the first emotional answer and defend it without evidence. Which type of mind do you want to train? Third, request evidence from your thoughts. If a thought tells you you're not good enough, ask, prove it. If a thought says everyone will judge you, ask, who exactly? Name one. If a thought says it's too risky, ask, what exactly is the risk and how can I minimize it? Fear hates evidence. Evidence often reveals possibility. By questioning, you turn vague fear into clear analysis. When you see the details, the monster becomes manageable. Thinking shrinks panic into steps. Fourth, test your predictions with action. Your mind loves to predict failure, but it rarely tests its predictions. Try small experiments. Want to start a blog? Publish one article. Want to improve social skills? Talk to one stranger. Want to change careers? Take one online course. Action exposes your mind's false assumptions. Action reveals truth. A student once feared speaking in class. His mind said everyone would judge him. So we ran a simple test. He asked one question a week. No one cared. Some even thanked him. His anxiety faded, not because he felt confident, but because he tested the prediction. Reality corrected his mind. You can't think your way into confidence. You gather confidence from evidence, and evidence comes from action. Fifth, ask, whose voice is this? Some beliefs aren't yours. They're borrowed from parents, teachers, friends, society, culture. If you grew up hearing, be safe, don't take risks, your brain might think ambition is dangerous. If you grew up with criticism, your brain might think mistakes equal failure. Your thoughts might be inherited, not chosen. Ask yourself, who taught me this? And then ask, is it true for me? Critical thinkers choose what to believe. They don't inherit beliefs blindly. Sixth, analyze cost. The brain hates discomfort and exaggerates danger to avoid it. But avoiding action has its own cost. If your mind says, don't ask for the job, you might look foolish. Think deeper. What's the cost of staying silent? Lost opportunity. If your mind says, don't start the business, you might fail. Ask, what's the cost of never trying? Regret. If your mind says, don't speak your truth, they might leave. Ask, what's the cost of pretending forever? Losing yourself. Thinking means you weigh both sides. Emotion sees only immediate pain. Thinking sees long-term consequences. Let's use zoom out. Your mind magnifies the present moment as if your mistake today defines your entire life. But when you zoom out, everything becomes smaller. One awkward moment means nothing in 5 years. One rejection is irrelevant compared to decades of opportunity. One failure is a chapter, not a conclusion. Zooming out restores perspective. Let's practice together. Think of a situation stressing you right now. Ask yourself, is my fear based on facts or assumptions? What else could be true? What evidence do I have? What small test could I try? What's the cost of doing nothing? Will this matter in 5 years? Feel the shift? You are thinking, not reacting. There's a final layer to scientific thinking: curiosity. Most people judge before they understand. Critical thinkers stay curious. They explore before concluding. They ask instead of assuming. They learn instead of defending. They listen for accuracy, not for ego. Curiosity keeps you intelligent. The smartest minds in history didn't become extraordinary by knowing more. They became extraordinary because they questioned more. You don't need to memorize more information to change your life. You need to question the thoughts guiding it. In the next chapter, we will dive deep into information filtering, how to protect your mind from manipulation, misinformation, social influence, and mental noise. You'll learn how to choose what deserves space in your head and what to block forever, because your thinking can only be as strong as the information you consume. Before you move on, a reminder. Your thoughts are suggestions, not instructions. You are not your mind. You are the one who decides what your mind is allowed to believe. Now let's learn how to upgrade what your mind consumes. Subscribe to Millionaire Library. And if you want to go deeper, I left a full playlist waiting for you in the description. The best next step is train your brain to outsmart any situation.
Chapter 5. Protecting your mind from manipulation and misinformation. A powerful mind isn't defined by how much it knows. It's defined by what it refuses to let in. Your thinking is only as pure as the information you allow to influence it. And in today's world, you are surrounded by voices that want to shape your beliefs, control your attention, and guide your decisions without your awareness. If you don't filter what enters your mind, someone else will end up thinking for you. Let's start with a simple truth. The most dangerous lies are not the ones you recognize. They are the ideas that feel correct because they match your fear, your insecurity, or your impatience. Your mind doesn't fall for information that feels wrong. It falls for information that agrees with your weakness. That's how manipulation works. It speaks to the part of you that wants shortcuts, validation, revenge, comfort, or certainty. Think about clickbait success stories promising you can become rich in 30 days. They don't attract your logic. They target your impatience. Political arguments online don't attract your intelligence. They target your anger. Toxic content doesn't seduce your wisdom. It seduces your insecurity, your need to feel superior, or your hunger to belong to a group. Manipulation doesn't fight your logic. It bypasses it and attacks your emotion. The media, influencers, companies, and even people around you constantly propose beliefs, not facts. Beliefs. If you accept them without questioning, you're not learning. You're being programmed. Critical thinking means you filter every message through awareness. You ask not just, is this true, but why is this being shown to me? Who benefits if I believe this? What emotional button is this trying to push? Most people don't realize their opinions are not original. They are borrowed. They repeat trends they haven't researched. They defend ideas they don't understand. They follow influencers not because they're wise, but because they're loud, confident, and liked by the crowd. Social approval becomes more important than accuracy. Popularity is confused with truth. And whenever popularity controls belief, thinking dies. Let me share a story. A man once became obsessed with a financial guru online. The guru spoke with confidence, promised wealth, criticized all other advice, and sold secret methods. The man followed every instruction. He invested recklessly. He lost almost everything. Later, he discovered the guru made more money selling advice than using his own strategies. Confidence is not evidence. Words are not proof. Volume does not equal intelligence. You must demand proof before loyalty. To protect your thinking, you need a filter, a system that checks information before it shapes your beliefs. Here's a simple three-filter method: source, motive, and evidence. First, source. Ask yourself, where is this information coming from? Is it a trained expert or a random opinion? A scientific study or a viral rumor? Someone who benefits from being right or someone who benefits from your attention? Don't trust information based on confidence. Trust information based on credibility. Second, motive. Why was this created? To inform you? To educate you? To sell to you? To trigger you? To manipulate your emotions so you share it? If the primary goal of content is to provoke reaction, not provide clarity, be careful. Manipulation doesn't teach, it incites. Be suspicious of anything that tries to generate outrage, urgency, or fear without offering real solutions. Third, evidence. Where's the proof? Do the claims have data behind them? Are there multiple sources confirming it? Are the examples cherry-picked to push a narrative? Can the idea be tested in real life? Emotion does not count as evidence. Personal opinions don't count as universal truth. If there's no evidence, there's no reason to believe it. Next, you must protect your mind from noise. Most people consume more information in 1 week than ancient thinkers consumed in a lifetime. But knowledge overload doesn't create wisdom, it creates confusion. Your mind becomes full but unfocused. You learn constantly but understand nothing deeply. Many young adults today are overinformed and underthinking. They know a little about everything, but they never study anything enough to master it. To think clearly, reduce the noise. Choose fewer sources, but go deeper into them. Study them instead of scrolling endlessly. You don't need more opinions. You need more understanding. You don't need more content. You need more reflection. Silence teaches more than chaos ever could. Also, be mindful of group thinking. People believe what everyone around them believes, even when it's wrong. Not because they're weak, but because the brain associates belonging with safety. If your friends mock ambition, you'll shrink your goals to fit in. If your social circle normalizes laziness, you'll defend it as self-care. If your culture glorifies victimhood, you'll find excuses instead of solutions. The mind adapts to survive socially, not intellectually. Ask yourself right now, how many beliefs do you hold just because the people around you hold them? How many dreams did you bury because they weren't approved by the group? How much potential have you abandoned to fit into a system that doesn't match who you want to become? Critical thinking sometimes requires isolation, not loneliness, but independence. You must learn to think without needing validation. You must form beliefs based on truth, not belonging. You don't grow by mimicking a crowd. You grow by questioning it. Here's a simple rule. If an idea spreads because it's convenient, emotional, or dramatic, be skeptical. Truth doesn't need shock value.
Wisdom doesn't scream for attention. Real knowledge often looks ordinary at first. It requires patience, curiosity, and humility to understand. Protect your mind like you protect your money. You wouldn't let anyone access your bank account. So why let anyone access your thoughts? Why let strangers decide your fears, your values, your ambitions? Your mind is your greatest asset. Guard it. In the next chapter, we will explore how to build independent thinking, how to make decisions confidently without relying on validation, opinions, or emotional influence. You will learn to think for yourself, even when the world wants you to think for others.
Chapter 6. Independent Thinking. Making Decisions Without Permission. Decisions without permission. Most people don't make decisions. They wait for someone else to approve what they already want to do. They look at the opinions of friends, the expectations of family, the trends online, the predictions of strangers, and then they choose whatever aligns with the majority. They don't act from clarity, they act from approval. They don't choose a path, they follow the crowd, hoping the crowd knows where it's going. But crowds don't think, they copy. And when you copy, you stop living your own life. Independent thinking isn't rebellion, it's responsibility. It means owning the consequences of your choices. It means learning from failure instead of blaming someone else. It means moving toward a future you chose, not a future you inherited. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's having reasons for your choices that come from your values, not your insecurity. Let's start with a harsh truth. If you need permission to start, you don't truly want it. You want validation. And validation turns you into a follower, even if you believe you're a leader. Many ambitious people stay stuck because they refuse to decide. They ask for advice from everyone they know, hoping someone will guarantee success. But thinking doesn't give you guarantees, it gives you direction. Action reveals the rest. Imagine two people who want to become financially independent. One asks everyone for opinions. Is this risky? Is this smart? Should I wait? Should I try something else? They get 50 answers, all different, all emotional. They become overwhelmed and hesitate. The other person studies the basics, weighs the consequences, chooses one clear strategy, and acts. The first protects their ego. The second builds their life. Independence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from choosing one path and taking responsibility. Independent thinkers don't chase safety. They chase clarity. They ask themselves, what do I value? What matters to me? What future am I willing to work for? They don't make decisions to impress others. They make them to respect themselves. Here's a powerful exercise. For every important decision, ask yourself 3 questions. Would I choose this if no one knew? Would I choose this if no one approved? Would I still choose this if it took 5 years to pay off?
If your answer changes depending on who's watching, you're not thinking independently, you're performing. Independent thinking requires maturity. Not emotional maturity alone, but intellectual maturity. It means using reason even when you're afraid. It means choosing progress over comfort. It means accepting that success doesn't owe you certainty. Many people want growth but refuse to take ownership. They want opportunities without risk, results without responsibility, admiration without effort. Independent thinkers understand life doesn't work that way. To think for yourself is to choose discomfort consciously, not blindly, but strategically. Let me tell you a story. A young designer once asked dozens of people whether she should open a creative business. She feared failure, so she kept asking for more advice. Finally, her mentor said,
Chapter 7. Strategic Thinking. How to choose like a leader, not a follower. Independent thinking gives you ownership, but strategic thinking gives you direction. Many people think for themselves, yet still make weak decisions because they live in the present moment only. They choose based on emotion today without considering the consequences tomorrow. Strategic thinkers don't ask, what feels right now? They ask, what outcome does this choice create later? They don't chase impulses, they build futures. Strategy is long-term awareness. It's thinking in timelines, not moments. It's choosing discomfort that pays off instead of comfort that evaporates. It's sacrificing ego now for reputation later, leisure now for freedom later, shortcuts now for mastery later. Strategy transforms effort into impact. Let's start with a core truth. Leaders don't make more decisions, they make fewer decisions that matter. They ignore distractions, trends, and short-lived excitement. They choose actions that compound over time. Compounding isn't just money. Skills compound, habits compound, knowledge compound, relationships compound. A strategic mind invests today for invisible benefits that appear months or years later. Imagine two people working on their future. One wants results now, so they change goals constantly. They chase trends, quit quickly, get bored fast, unlearn everything, and start again. The other chooses one clear direction, stays through boredom, studies deeply, corrects mistakes, builds connections slowly. Who becomes unstoppable? Not the one working harder, but the one working longer in one direction. Strategy is consistency with intelligence. Let's apply this to career decisions. Many people ask, what job pays the most? A better question is, which skill will increase my value over the next 5 years? Money follows value, not desperation. Ask yourself, what skill or knowledge can I develop that the market will need later? That's strategic thinking. You're not jumping from paycheck to paycheck, you're building leverage. Now let's look at relationships. Strategic thinkers don't choose people based only on chemistry or comfort. They choose relationships that support growth. They don't keep friends who sabotage ambition, drain energy, or encourage weakness. They ask a different question. Does this person make me better? Not happier for one night, better for life. That's strategy. In health, strategic thinkers don't chase short diets or results in 2 weeks. They choose habits they can sustain for decades. They ask, how can I make progress in a way I can keep for life? They don't obsess over fast changes, they build permanent ones. Strategy cares about who you're becoming more than what you get today. Let's explore a small exercise powerful leaders use. Before every important decision, they ask 3 questions. What will this look like in 1 month? What will this feel like in 1 year? What will this create in 5 years? Most people only consider the first question. Leaders consider the last. This difference in perspective is why they grow while others repeat cycles. Short-term thinkers seek emotional relief. Strategic thinkers seek long-term alignment. Imagine arguing with someone. You feel the need to win. Emotion says, prove your point. Strategy asks, does winning this help my future? Many battles don't deserve your energy. Some arguments are not investments. Some offenses don't require reaction. A strategic thinker saves energy from meaningful fights. They don't spend their intelligence on proving superiority. They invest it in building advantage. Strategic thinking also affects how you handle failure. Most people treat failure as a wall. Strategy sees it as a map. If something didn't work, what did it reveal? What skill do you need next? What mistake should you not repeat? What weakness must you train? Strategy turns failure into information. Emotion turns it into identity. Let's observe procrastination. People delay action because they think they're choosing comfort. In reality, procrastination is not choosing comfort now. It's choosing discomfort later. You're not avoiding pain. You're rescheduling it. Strategic thinkers don't ask, how do I avoid stress today? They ask, how do I remove stress from my future? That one shift changes productivity forever. Strategic thinking means analyzing your moves like a chess player. Not every piece needs to move. Not every opportunity deserves attention. Not every desire deserves action. Sometimes the strongest move is patience. Sometimes the smartest move is preparation. Sometimes the most strategic move is saying no. Here's a rule to remember. If you react fast, you're probably emotional. If you choose slowly, you're probably thinking. Delay is not weakness when it's used to increase clarity. Many people rush to escape discomfort. Leaders pause to understand it. Let's do a quick reflection. Think of one major decision in front of you. It could be career, relationship, money, education, business. Ask yourself, am I choosing based on fear, impatience, or validation? Or am I choosing based on who I want to become in 5 years? Your brain will try to protect the present version of you. Strategy protects the future version of you. Critical thinking requires you to sacrifice short-term emotional comfort for long-term identity. You must choose growth, even when it doesn't give instant reward. Long-term intelligence is rare. That's why strategic thinkers stand out. They don't seek applause today, they build results that make applause irrelevant. They don't chase opportunities, they prepare for them. They don't beg for approval, they earn influence. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into the mind of strategic thinkers. You will learn how to make decisions with high leverage, how to choose actions that return more than they cost, and how to build a life that rewards you even when you stop working. You're about to step into the mindset of real wealth.
Chapter 8. High Leverage Decisions. Actions that work even when you're not working. Some decisions create results only while you are actively pushing. Others continue working for you long after you've stopped. The difference between average thinkers and strategic thinkers is simple. Average thinkers choose actions that give quick results for a short time. Strategic thinkers choose actions that produce results repeatedly, automatically, and invisibly. Those actions are called high-leverage decisions. A high-leverage decision is something you build once and benefit from repeatedly. It might be a skill, a system, a relationship, or a habit that continues to pay dividends even when you're busy, tired, or focused on something else. A low-leverage decision solves a problem once. A high-leverage decision solves a problem forever. Let's break it down with money. Most people think work equals income. They trade time for money hour by hour. The moment they stop working, the money stops. A high-leverage strategy asks, how can I earn even when I'm not present? That leads to skills like investing, building digital systems, creating products, or providing expertise that scales across many clients.
The difference isn't intelligence, it's leverage. Someone working 10 hours a day with no leverage will always earn less over time than someone working fewer hours with compound results. Let's apply leverage to learning. Some people study randomly, constantly absorbing new topics they never use. Others master one core skill that multiplies the value of everything they touch. For example, someone who learns persuasive writing can apply it to marketing, business, negotiation, leadership, and sales. One skill, endless applications. That's leverage. The key isn't to learn everything. It's to learn what multiplies everything. Now let's look at relationships. Some conversations are temporary. Others build long-term trust that becomes opportunity later. Strategic thinkers don't network to collect contacts. They build relationships with depth. They help before asking. They create mutual respect. Because strong relationships become leverage. One person who believes in your value can open more doors than 100 acquaintances who barely know who you are. Habits can also be leverage. A single daily practice like reading 10 pages, exercising 20 minutes, or writing ideas every morning may look small, but these habits create compounding knowledge, health, and creativity that future you benefits from without extra effort. A healthy body makes work easier. A disciplined mind makes decisions faster. A curious brain sees opportunities others miss. Your routine becomes a system that quietly upgrades your life daily. Let's talk about systems. Many people solve the same problems over and over. They rush to fix what breaks instead of redesigning the process that keeps breaking. High-leverage thinkers ask, how can I prevent this from happening again? They build templates, rules, checklists, automation, or processes that turn chaos into consistency. This works in business, but also in personal life. If you struggle waking up early, don't rely on motivation. Create a routine that makes waking up automatic. If you waste time deciding what to do next, build a weekly structure that removes guesswork. Systems do the work for you. Let's explore a small story. A freelancer used to chase clients constantly. When one left, he panicked and searched for the next. Then he made a high-leverage decision. Instead of working harder, he built a portfolio website, automated his inquiry form, and created a 3-step onboarding system. Within months, clients started coming to him without outreach. His stress dropped. His income increased. Not because he worked more, but because he created leverage. One strategic decision changed everything. Here's a powerful exercise that leaders use. Before choosing an action, ask, will this only help me today, or will it continue helping me tomorrow? If it only helps today, it may be necessary, but not strategic. If it will continue helping tomorrow, build it. Here's another question. Will this reduce future effort or increase it? A high-leverage decision reduces effort over time. A low-leverage decision creates more effort later. For example, working overtime repeatedly is low leverage. Building a better workflow is high leverage. Constantly fixing mistakes is low leverage. Creating a system that prevents mistakes is high leverage. Trying to remember tasks is low leverage. Using a planning system is high leverage. In thinking, leverage means you ask questions that solve multiple problems at once. Instead of asking, how do I finish this? Ask, how can I make finishing easier every single time? Instead of asking, how can I get more discipline? Ask, what system would make discipline unnecessary? Instead of asking, how can I motivate myself? Ask, how can I make progress automatic? Leverage transforms effort into assets. Assets are anything that continues to work after you stop working. They can be skills, money, networks, habits, systems, or even reputation. A reputation built on reliability becomes leverage. People trust you more, hire you more, recommend you more. Your name works without effort. So here's a challenge. Identify one area in your life where you repeatedly struggle. Time management, money, confidence, relationships, health. Now ask yourself, what decision could I make today that eliminates this struggle not just once, but permanently? You don't need to fix the problem. You need to fix its source. Most people want a lighter load. Strategic thinkers build a stronger foundation. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the psychology behind leverage. You'll learn how to create invisible momentum, how to plant seeds now that become results later, how to build long-term advantages that compound like wealth, and how to stop living in reaction and start living by design.
Chapter 9. Building Invisible Momentum. Success rarely announces itself while it's being built. It grows quietly, slowly, in places no one is watching. The problem is that most people quit when nothing seems to be happening. They plant a seed, check the soil every day, and because they don't see progress fast enough, they abandon the garden and search for another seed. They repeat this pattern for years, wondering why nothing grows. The truth is simple. You can't build visible success without invisible commitment. Invisible momentum is the progress you don't notice while it's forming. It's the knowledge you're gathering that hasn't paid off yet, the networking that hasn't matured yet, the skill building that isn't profitable yet, the habit that hasn't transformed you yet. You can't see it, but it's happening. Growth accumulates underground before it rises into your life. A bamboo tree grows roots for years without visible height. Then suddenly it shoots up meters in months. Most people quit during the root phase. Let's talk about how invisible momentum works in real life. Imagine someone learning a high-income skill like coding, design, or marketing. At first, they feel slow. Their work looks basic. No one pays them yet. They struggle to understand concepts. It feels like nothing is working. But each hour of learning is building a mental foundation. Each mistake refines ability. Each failed attempt strengthens understanding. One day, everything clicks. People call it talent, but it's accumulated effort becoming visible. Invisible momentum also shapes emotional intelligence. You learn to stay calm in arguments, listen before responding, ask questions instead of defending. At first, no one notices, but slowly conflict disappears, trust grows, relationships deepen. People don't see the internal work you did, they only see the results. Calmness looks effortless once it's mastered. We can apply this to money. Every book you read, every course you take, every dollar saved, every skill built, every project completed is building leverage. Even when the results are not immediate, many think wealth begins with big income. Real wealth begins with invisible financial habits long before money arrives. Now consider identity. You're building a future version of yourself. The version who doesn't panic, who doesn't react emotionally, who chooses strategically, who thinks independently. You're training your mind. No one cheers for mental discipline, but later when you're calm under pressure, wise in conflict, strategic under stress, people will think you're naturally gifted. They won't see the inner work you did in silence. Here's the reality most people avoid. If success doesn't come fast, they think it's not working. But the greatest progress of your life will happen when it feels like nothing is happening. That's the phase where your consistency builds endurance, where your effort builds identity, where repetition builds mastery. You don't need proof to continue. You need faith in the process. To build invisible momentum, you need 3 principles: small, consistent actions, delayed reward, and long-term vision. Small, consistent actions are better than massive bursts of effort.
A person who practices a skill 30 minutes daily beats the one who practices 5 hours once and loses motivation. Momentum thrives on rhythm, not exhaustion. It doesn't matter how impressive you are on one day. It matters how consistent you are over 100 days. Delayed reward means you don't chase the dopamine of fast success. You don't expect results too early. You learn, practice, prepare, build, and wait. The people who win aren't smarter. They endure longer. They don't need a trophy to justify their work. The work itself is proof they're becoming who they need to be. Long-term vision means you choose goals that take years to compound. You stop asking, how long will it take, and start asking, how far can this go if I keep going? A long-term thinker looks at results differently. They don't panic when they're slow. They panic when they're meaningless. They don't rush progress. They amplify it through time. Every great outcome rewards those who stayed long enough to see it. Critical thinking isn't just about making smart choices in the moment. It's about committing to smart choices long enough for them to change your life. Most people don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they stopped before the results appeared. Invisible momentum is happening right now in your life. Every time you choose reflection over reaction, growth over distraction, reading over scrolling, training over fantasizing, building over bragging, you're planting roots. The world doesn't notice roots, but roots hold everything together. One day your results will look sudden to others. They will call you lucky, gifted, different, chosen. They will see the height, not the roots. They will see the moment, not the work. And you will know the truth. You earned what they think appeared overnight. The greatest transformations don't start loudly. They start quietly, in choices no one applauds, in habits no one sees, in thoughts no one hears, in discipline no one respects yet. Build momentum privately so you can change your life publicly. Now let's conclude this book and turn your critical thinking into a lifetime of strategic action. Conclusion: your mind is your freedom. You've learned how to think before reacting, how to question your thoughts, how to filter information, how to build independence, how to make long-term strategic choices, and how to create momentum that grows without noise. This book wasn't about knowledge, it was about power. Because true power is not physical strength, popularity, or money. It's clarity of mind. A clear mind can't be manipulated. A disciplined thinker can't be controlled. A strategic individual can't be rushed. A person who understands their thoughts can't be dominated by fear, comparison, ego, or noise. Your mind is your freedom. Protect it, train it, respect it. You are no longer just a thinker. You are a builder. You can build habits, relationships, wealth, and identity with intention. You don't need approval. You don't need shortcuts. You don't need perfection. You need clarity, patience, and responsibility. Let others chase attention. You chase understanding. Let others seek comfort. You seek growth. Let others depend on the world. You depend on your mind. In a loud world, become someone who thinks. In a distracted world, become someone who sees clearly. In a reactive world, become someone who chooses wisely. Your future will not be created by chance. It will be created by how you think. And now you have everything you need to think brilliantly. Subscribe to the Millionaire Library, and if you want to go even deeper, I left a full playlist waiting for you in the description. Your perfect next step is how to speak less, influence more.